Good evening. I hereby call this regular meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum could be present, and a notice of this meeting was posted as required by Texas Open Meeting Act. Now it is official. She is arrived. Board members Leah Beth App, Mr. James Montoya, and Reverend Irvin are unable to attend tonight's meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight, and the first order of business tonight is conduct executive closed session, and time is exactly 5:01. I knew you were going to hit it right on the time.
I mean, on time's not put on the microphone. 10 minutes ago would have been on time.
That's what- Good evening, everyone. The board is now reconvening into open session, and the time is 5:01. I'm sorry, 6:01. Please remember that items do not have to be taken in order as it has been listed. And thank you for joining us this evening, and ask to please turn your cell phone to the silent mode. At this time, I ask Ms. Winslow to give the invocation for tonight.
Please bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for allowing us to be able to come here tonight. I want to thank you for all the parents and the children that have come out tonight right before the holiday. Father, I just ask blessings on everybody that you have given the gift of loving kids and nurturing kids, from our school bus drivers and our cafeteria workers to our teachers and our administrators. Father, I couldn't even begin to name everybody, but also so much for the parents who love their children enough to bring them in. Father, I ask your grace and your wisdom tonight as we enter into this meeting, and thank you so much for the upcoming season where we get to celebrate the birth of your Son and the gift of his life. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, at this time, I will want to step forward because at the very end, the promotion starts when people leaving. I want in advance, thank you parents for bringing the students here, and Merry Christmas to you all. Okay, principal of Fredonia Early Childhood Center, Miss Lindsay Turner, and her students will be leading us to the pledges to the flags tonight.
Good evening, President Irman, Board Member, Superintendent Trujillo. We're very pleased to bring our friends over here. I'm going to leave it over to Ms. Simpson. She's going to introduce our Student Council.
All right, guys, thank you, parents, for bringing your sweet babies out tonight to say the pledges at our board meeting. And now you will hear from Ms. Zuri.
How good looking these kids are.
I don't know what to say.
Cute little kids.
They know their number.
For student kids and for Fredonia, thank you for coming. Hola, somos el Consejo Estudiantil de Fredonia. Gracias por venir.
Good job.
Good job. Indivisible. I couldn't say that when I was that age. I didn't even get kindergarten, much less pre-K. And I started late.
Again, thank you, parents.
Great helpers.
His parents wants to stay. Okay, bye-bye.
Miss Holland is here for something.
Maybe it's the skills.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's why I thanked them in advance.
Yeah, it's 'cause they leave.
Yeah. They don't hear anything yet.
I saw a bunch of girls in red coats out.
Do we have that speaker here today?
That's probably.
I think so.
Yeah, he's here.
Well, I know that's in transportation.
Is he here?
I don't know.
Let me ask Whitaker. He's there. Okay. At this portion of our meeting, we have celebration and information item, and starting with Mr. Linebarger. You introduce him.
Thank you. Good evening, President Neriman, board members, Dr. Trujillo. I want to introduce Jacob Weems, Director of the Nacogdoches High School Marching Band. Mr. Weems, head on up this way. In October, the Golden Dragon Band again qualified for the UIL State Military Marching Band competition in Waco. And that qualification came after Nacogdoches again earned straight ones at the regional marching contest held in Longview this year. And I say again when it comes to that regional marching contest, because that streak of straight ones began in 1980 and now is stretched all the way through 2024. What a great legacy these guys have left and been a part of for Nacogdoches ISD and Nacogdoches High School. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Weems. There he is. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Board, Superintendent. I'd like to just come here tonight to honor these kids. All the hard work that they put in this year has been amazing. This group is my group of officers who basically run the band program because there's only so many directors and we cannot do it on our own. These kids gave up their entire summer basically to come up to the band hall and spend time getting uniforms ready, music ready, getting hats sorted out, getting everything put up, instruments laid out, everything that you could possibly think of. They were there for a good 2 or 3 weeks getting everything going, and then everybody started coming in. They fit everybody and all that. They did an amazing job, and I love them because you can just put them on autopilot and they just do it, and I don't have to worry about it. But they're a great group of kids, and we've had, like you said, some great success this year with region marching contest, straight ones, and then going on to state over in Waco. We got to play at Baylor Stadium, which was an event in itself. That's a huge place. These kids, it's an amazing place to play because it's enormous, and got to see some great bands there, good competition. And then after that, we went on and did some all-region and had actually did orchestra first. We had 2 of our people make the region orchestra, which was Region 21 and Region 4, and one of them is here right now, Mr. Emmanuel Vera. And then we went on and we actually had, the next week we have something just about every week in December. Every weekend we have a competition. So we had middle school was going on. We had 40 middle school kids make the all-region band. Then the next weekend, next Friday night, we had 12 freshmen make the freshman all-region band, and then 24 high school all-region kids that made it. And then this Monday, we had a Christmas concert and had over 500 kids on the floor of the competition gym, and it was a completely packed house. I don't know if I've ever seen it that full before, but it was really great to have the whole community out and see all the support that we have, and we really, really appreciate it.
And at the same time, they are excellent students.
Absolutely, yeah. This group is amazing. I usually get scared about eligibility, but then I don't have to. They always pull through, and they always do a great job. But this group of kids, I believe, they're the smartest group of kids on the whole campus, and they love to be challenged, and they're all in everything. We've got swimmers, we've got drill team people, tennis players, just everything. Very involved kids, and they're the cream of the crop, if you ask me.
President Fashid, if I may add to your point, several of these look familiar because I got to see them this morning at about 7:30. And great students. Dr. Hill, you were there. Ms. Whitaker, a lot of the team was here, Ms. Tarvin, and a lot of our parents, and SFA was in the room recognizing a lot of the work that these seniors have done with their project. So I just want to make sure when President Fashid mentions great students, you all are amazing, and you blew me away because you were using vocabulary and terms that I had to look it up in Google to figure out what you were talking about because you're so passionate about your field of study. So they got bright futures ahead of them, and I completely agree with President Fashid, is you guys are very, very talented, not just in the music, but also in the academics as well. And I'm curious, you were orchestra, what did you play?
Trumpet.
Trumpet, okay. I was expecting like a string instrument of some sort.
There's a separate string tryout,
Yes.
and then we participate in the wind portion, and then they come together and do a concert. What was it? About 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So when you put the two of them together, otherwise known as a mariachi.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Williams, I just wanted to thank you for leading and directing and stepping up. I know you're an alum as well,
Yes, ma'am.
as I am, as well as my parents and my children. So I feel like a little bit of a connection with everybody. And being a freshman in the year 81, 82, at the very beginning of it, and you guys just keep carrying it on. And thank you. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Just carrying it on and, pass it down. And beyond music, what band brings, it brings you a discipline that you'll need as an adult to go to college or to go into a career, whatever you're going to do. It brings you a family. Crazy as it may sound, we stay in touch and we're friends for life. So just remember that and carry that with you, and congratulations.
It's been really neat for these kids. Mr. Haygood's come back and clinic the band a few times this year and last year, and it's really neat to see who started it, and he's still coming back and still cares about these kids and cares about the program because it's such an institution in Nacogdoches.
It is a family.
As I said last year, I'm going to repeat myself. Mr. Wells and Mr. Haygood, very proud of you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I wanted to say something to each one of you here, because you are part of history for Nacogdoches. You are making history. But remember, what do you need to know about a chain? A chain is only as strong as its what? Weakest link. You must build the links for this legacy, and you are doing that. But don't let it slip your mind. Everything that you're doing, you're modeling for other people, and you're modeling for each other. So, I just get goosebumps talking about it, because it's so exciting to see y'all perform and beat the other band every game. So thank y'all so much for your commitment, not only to your band, but to your school and to your community. Everybody looks up to you. Be a good example for even the little kids that left us. Thank you. They'll be in your shoes one day.
Yes.
Sir, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And thank you.
Yes. Oh, yes.
If you're on the back row, find a window, I think you'll have. Here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to y'all. Mr. Linebarger, now we have National Leadership Academy.
Yes, sir. Allow me to introduce Jan Holland, cosmetology teacher at Nacogdoches High School. Ms. Holland, come on up. And two of her students, juniors Sierra Reynolds and Haley Sanchez. Sierra, Haley, come on. All three of them qualified for and attended the Leadership Training Institute conference held in September in Washington, D.C. Ms. Holland, Sierra, Haley, welcome.
Good afternoon, or good evening, I should say. First of all, thank y'all for allowing them to be here and allowing myself to be here. It's always, well, one, it's very nerve-wracking, but it's always I don't know, it's an honor. You know, we've had lots of success, but it never gets old. And these students, Sierra she's the vice president for Skills USA District 7, which, as y'all know, District 7 is huge. She stepped in last year, ran as a sophomore, and I believe she was our second one that we had as a sophomore. Normally, I don't run them until junior and stuff. So she wanted to try, and I said, well, come on. So she got in and all, and she just took off running. And it's a lot. It's a big interview process. It's a big application process. They have to write essays, all this kind of stuff. Well, we had another officer, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to go. Sierra qualified to go to Washington, D.C. That is a huge thing. It's a national thing for them and all. They have to qualify in June for, what's it called, a Statesman Award. It is grueling. I have to qualify for it. They have to qualify for it. So Sierra was able to qualify. And then you go to Washington in September. That's the National CTE Week is what it is. So they're there, and unfortunately, the other student couldn't go. So a week before we left, I said, okay, Sierra, who do you think would be good to represent us? Without a doubt, she said Haley Sanchez. And I said, well, that was the one that was on my mind, too. So Haley had to step in, but Haley had to do all of the interview process, too. She had a week to learn all this. The pledge and, you know, the motto, all of that stuff. She stepped in, never missed a beat, and she qualified too there at Nationals for the National Statesman Award. There's lots of activities, lots of agenda, a big agenda for them. They were exhausted. I think we walked 30 plus miles. So literally. So anyway, but I could not have asked for better. They went, spoke to congressmen, spoke to representatives. They sat in congressman's office and advocated for Perkins funding and for our CTE programs better than most adults would have done. I've had the pleasure of doing that kind of stuff at state level and at nationals and all. They are much better than I am. They had no fear. They sat there, and if they were scared, they never showed it, and spoke to them just like it was no big deal. But they spoke from their hearts, and, you know, they said, Ms. Hahn, what are we saying? I said, you speak from your heart. What does CTE mean to you? What does it mean to you to have these careers before you even graduate? And that's exactly what they did, and I could not have been more proud, and I wish that all of our board members and all of our admin, all of Nacogdoches could have seen what they did and how they presented themselves and presented our, you know, stood up there for Nacogdoches too. So anyway, do y'all have anything?
I just first want to say thank you to all of you and Mr. Croft too for giving us the opportunity to go and miss school and all the support, because without the support it would have been way worse, way harder than it was. But knowing that we had someone back home supporting us, it made it so much easier to go and speak to representatives and do this hard stuff.
Okay.
And I also want to add how not a lot of people get this opportunity to go to Washington, and I just want to thank you guys for providing for us and helping us make that happen.
Thank you. And just FYI, we have 10 that are running for our district office this year. That's the most I've ever had, so, well, it's a lot of work, so come February, they will all be running, and we'll see. Maybe we'll have a whole lot more go next year, but we'll see.
Ms.
But thank
Holland?
you, yes.
Are you first year teacher?
You what?
Are you first year teacher? That's a joke.
Yeah, I feel like it.
You have our biannual pilgrimage here,
Yes,
you and your students. We're very proud of the students and you as well.
thank you so much. And
I wanted to say something to these young ladies. This process did not begin with a yes, I'll do it. It began with the preparation that you've had through your lifetime up to that point of saying yes. And yes mean a lot of work, right?
Yes.
But you've worked and you've seen and you've done and you've been where your peers have not been. And you will never forget this, never. And this will be a part of your future preparation to what you will accomplish, and it will be even greater than what you've done to this point. Remember those around you where you're at in cosmetology, that you're the model for them of who they're going to be, of all the different classes, okay? Be your best as best as you can.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Holland, I think you've got a program where we expect to see you very frequently because you have so much success with the students that are participating, and I thank you for your commitment to them, to be willing to put yourself through the grueling process of being able to qualify to go with them. So kind of like with the band, this is your career, this is your future, this is what you're going to do, and you're a great ambassador for Nacogdoches, and being able to step out into those leadership roles, you will be representing Nacogdoches, and I'm very excited to see that come to be. Congratulations.
Oh, and FYI, I think I have the smartest kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a letter that they wrote for the
Oh.
superintendent of the school board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, picture time.
I thought it was a free coupon for a haircut.
Well, you know what?
You're past due, by the way.
No, I just had a haircut this week.
Okay. We move on quickly to superintendent announcements and report.
Top that.
Well, President Fashid and Board, we've had a number of Christmas fine art performances this past several days. I always like to mention our fine arts program this time of year because they're so visible and they do such a wonderful job throughout the community. Last week, the Nacogdoches High School Dragonettes held their Christmas showcase. It was the Grinch-themed Dragonette Stole Christmas, and it was fast-moving, exciting, and just like always, very well done by our students. On Monday, the band, and you heard from Mr. Weems, they were from McMichael Middle School, Nacogdoches High School, held a combined Christmas concert at the competition gym and NHS. There was upwards of 400 students performing, including those from 6th grade in their very first semester of band. Never ceases to amaze me how good our 6th graders can sound by the time Christmas time rolls out. And Mr. Weems was right. Every parking lot around the high school had a vehicle that was attending that wonderful event. Tuesday night, the NHS choir held their concert at the First United Methodist Church here in town. And our choirs at McMichael Middle School and Nacogdoches High School are doing so well right now. Earlier that day, both performed at Fredonia Rotary Club. And earlier today, McMichael Pryor was at hand at the Westminster Presbyterian. Ms. Pitcock hosted them there for their performance. I don't know if you want to add anything to their performance.
I just can't say there's anything I love more than a middle school choir. When they sing with their whole hearts and there's nothing held back. Yeah, it was a real gift to the community.
thank you for hosting them. That was a beautiful event. The kids talked about it. And on December 11th of last week, Reggae Elementary Choir marked their 80th year anniversary as it appeared at the Rotary Club at Nacogdoches. The Reggae Choir has made this visit each year since December of 1944. The pandemic interrupted the in-person appearance in 2020, but the choir still recorded the presentation, and that shown to the club membership so we can keep that history rolling. Reggae at the Rotary Club is a Christmas tradition and one of the most favorite meetings of the year for the Rotary members. I also want to let you know that our CTE lab at McMichael Middle School was featured earlier this month by a vendor on the other East Texas other school districts that might be interested in our programming that we have here in Nacogdoches. In the lab, 7th and 8th graders spent time at different stations over the course of the school year and are exposed to a number of industry-related choices that transition seamlessly into programs already in place at NHS that allow students time to develop their interests while still at McMichael before they even begin making selections for their freshman school year. These CTE programs are important for students, for both those planning on entering the workforce and those that plan to go to college, and for Nacogdoches. By graduation, students can obtain an important industry certification that can be a stepping stone towards a job right out of high school. And the programs also provide stronger connections to our community because we use this data to identify all the areas that we need among our employers here in our community. And just like the arts, the Nacogdoches Education Foundation has already proven to be a support of career and technical education, as at NISD providing grants in different programs with the department. I'm trying to see if I see her in the audience. Ms. Wyndham has done a tremendous job of leading that for our NEF. This morning, you saw just a sampling of our students that were here. There were 27 Nacogdoches High School students that displayed 18 projects for the District Science Fair held at Malcolm Rector Center for Advanced Career and Innovation. Projects touched on fields related to microbiology, biochemistry, environmental engineering, mathematics, animal science, behavior science, plant science, engineering, technology, biomedical, health science, and earth and environmental science. And I might add, Coach, there was also a project on the brackets of athletes, and he found out that the best bracket was made in soccer.
Oh, good.
In that maybe basketball and some of these other sports can learn from the soccer aspect of it. I'm both impressed and astounded at just how complex these projects can be. So proud of these kids, so proud of our parents, because these kids would not be doing this without the support of both our teachers and their parents. And I also wanted to make sure, kind of plug something in here on behalf of our teachers and all the support. I want to thank this board, and I want to make sure that our public understands something about this board that we have that represents Nacogdoches ISD. It's a yearly commitment to attract and retain quality personnel through what has been a very difficult few years with limited funding, with actions that have not been forthcoming as far as what we expect with our legislators. But what's fixing to happen is 1 month from today, our legislators will reconvene, and they will go in and make decisions that will impact public education or not impact public education. And I charge and I challenge our legislators as they come in to have the courage of this board to go out there and make those tough decisions for our teachers and for our staff. We are still operating on expenses and funding from 2019. That's what we're funded by. So we can't do the amazing things that we can do. We have to be creative in order to retain and maintain and support our staff, all of our staff. But I want to commend this board for the difficult decisions you've made in prioritizing that the most valuable asset we have is our staff, with the funding that we've done the last few years. So I wanted to make sure to add that. The other thing I wanted to make sure the community knows this, tomorrow is, where's Les at? Mr. Lineberger, I want to make sure I get this right language-wise. Tomorrow is early release, okay? Early release. And I'm not even going to say the other word. It's early release. That means whatever time your child gets out of school regularly, just back out 2 hours. They get out 2 hours earlier. So the first group to dismiss tomorrow will be high school, okay? And we got to make sure our buses is 2 hours?
it's just early release.
Early release. So you have a schedule, it's on our
Oh, yeah.
website.
And then I got a text as a parent, I got an
Yeah.
email as a parent, and I got a phone call with a voicemail as a parent.
Yeah, so you'll see it through text, messages, go to our website. Don't be surprised when little Johnny comes home, knocking on the door, the bus pulls up, and they're saying, "I'm home," okay? Because it's early release tomorrow for our students. And finally, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. What a great year we've had for 2024, and it's hard to believe 2025 is going to be here real soon, and look forward to getting a new semester kicked off in January. President Rashid, that's all I have to present.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we have a public comment, and we have one person requested for address to board, Reverend Donald Lacey. Reverend, you got 3 minutes, and Mr. Michael Martin will take the minutes.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to stand before you. And really, what a way to come before you behind Dr. Trujillo giving great comments about the board. And I come on behalf of the drivers of our transportation department. I am Donald Lacey, pastor of Zion Hill First Baptist Church here in Nacogdoches. And I'm also a bus driver of 6 years. And I come before the board to seek the board's help in resolving some issues that are at the transportation department. And so I share with you, I've spoken with the director, I've spoken with Mr. Whitaker, so it's not like I have not reached out to others before coming here, but I want to seek the board's help and resolve on some issues. Just yesterday and this morning, talking about PTO time, paid time off. Every employee of the district, and I found out that there's some other employees that have the same problem, that when it comes to spring break or when it comes to the Christmas and New Year holiday, that we're unable to use the PTO time to compensate for the time that we're not at work. And granted, we take care of the children just as the teachers do, the same children that we take back and forth. And we feel like that something needs to be done to enable us that where in these times that we're not without a good salary, that we just left out in the cold. And talking with Mr. Whitaker, understands and realizing that going to look to do something. If nothing is done or nothing cannot be done, that's better than not trying to do anything at all. And that's all that we're asking the board and our district to do. So that took place on yesterday. Bus aids on special need buses, just like others, deserve increases just as much as those that work in maintenance, food service in the grounds area. This information has already been shared with some and talked about with others, but I wanted to have the opportunity to come before the board. Seniority should count for something on any and every job. Favoritism should count for nothing. So in other words, there should be no favoritism in the functioning of duties or choosing someone for this or for that. Seniority should count for something because of the experience, the knowledge in certain things, in certain areas. Would you rather have someone that just started driving to drive you on a long distance and never have done that compared to someone who has done it more than one time?
Mr. Lacey, your time has expired.
Oh, wow, that's 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. You're a preacher.
So, thank you for this opportunity to share what I shared.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a Christmas. Okay. Now we move into item report. Tonight we'll have one report, is Enterprise Fleet Management Report. And presenter, Mr. Ben Eberlein, our Chief Financial Officer.
President Rashid, before you get started, I want to make sure to publicly recognize and appreciate our CFO, Ben Eberman, for coming in and bringing this to us. his exploration and diving in and being very conscientious of our funding and ways that we can stretch that mighty dollar. And this is one of those things. So publicly, I want to say thank you so much for bringing this opportunity for this board to just listen to and ask some questions. So.
Yes, sir. President Neermond, Board of Trustees, Dr. Trio, as always, as a government entity, we're looking to optimize some processes, make it more efficient in the way that we do things. So in doing that, annually, we obviously look at purchasing vehicles, turning over some of our fleet, getting some new maintenance vehicles. With the expansion of our police units, we obviously need some police vehicles. And so I reached out to Jordan. Well, they actually came and found me. Jordan and Miss Katie were kind enough to give some demos, and was able to come and do it again with Mr. Whitaker and Dr. Trio and Mr. Martin, and we wanted to bring it to you. So they were kind enough to come tonight, and I'd like to give them the floor to present Enterprise Fleet Management.
Thank you guys so much tonight for letting us be here. My name is Jordan Jenkins. I'm account executive at Enterprise Fleet Management out of our Dallas, East Texas group.
And my name is Katie McCauley. I'm also an account executive out of our Dallas group.
So we're here today just to present a solution that we're working in the government space as of late. We know dollars are tight nowadays, and with the expansion of the police units and force, those dollars have gotten even shorter with security and the importance of our kids. I have 3 young boys myself, so I understand it's very important in our day and age to make sure that all is taken care of, as well as making sure our employees are taken care of in that same breath. And my wife's a teacher, so I understand the stress of the schools. Just what we do and what we look at. Perfect. We're everywhere in the state of Texas that you need to be, as well as around the country. We work with Midland ISD, Hallsville ISD, Chapel Hill ISD, Uvalde, Abilene, and a handful of others around the area. Reasons company they work with us and the school districts is we're able to leverage those dollars as they're speaking to. Speaking to the Enterprise brand, we buy as low as we can for the vehicles as possible, and that can only be matched by government's ability to buy them at that same price with the government rebates. We've been awarded bids through TIPS and Sourcewell already to be a vetted fleet management partner through you, and with that process, we are actually able to help leverage and eliminate some of the administrative burden that the school's facing today when it comes to finding vehicles, funding the vehicles, as well as disposing them on the back end and finding that optimal time to dispose of them. What we've seen a lot in our analysis and looking at the fleet today, there potentially is a lot of vehicles that could be not used as much. Bare minimal mileages on some vehicles, a 10, 15-year-old vehicle only using it for 1,000 miles a year. Is that well used of public funds? We're trying to make sure we leverage that at the right time and dispose of those vehicles and capitalize on those high dollar amounts through Enterprise's networks of the disposal process as well. We're full cradle-to-grave partner, as we like to call it, but we like to take it from all 8 to 10 places that you need to touch a fleet. There's a lot of people and a lot of places, and we can't give you all a one-stop shop for it all. You get a dedicated client strategy manager that comes out to the school district and actually meets with you twice a year to review fleet spend and look at what the optimal replacement time for the vehicles are in the future. This is all, again, we're in the consulting business and leveraging our infrastructure. At the end of the day, as a board and as a leadership staff of whoever is here, they have the final decision on what that would look like as a team. All we're chasing is the optimal expected life of a vehicle. As everyone knows, a vehicle is a depreciating asset. It gains no value over time unless during COVID. Vehicles went through the roof as everyone, if you were looking to buy a vehicle used or new at the time. But Enterprise, we have our thumb on the market. We're able to leverage our infrastructure. We buy and sell over 1 million vehicles every year, so we have a feel for where the market's at. And we're able to leverage that to find when the optimal time to replace it is, where those higher maintenance and fuel charges start rising, and dispose of it before a lot of those things start happening. As a school today, we usually see you on the far right side where the vehicle and maintenance is usually at its extreme high, even though the vehicle has low mileage on it. The vehicle has no resale value on the back end, and on top of trying to dispose of the vehicle for bare minimal dollars, it's a headache to try to sell it, as some of the members could probably speak to of that. That's all I really have on the sort of like the life cycle of Enterprise. So open up any questions about anything.
I have one, actually a couple of,
Yes.
it basically is, we were leasing the vehicle, correct?
Correct. It's called an equity lease, so the school district's entitled to all value that the vehicle holds. Enterprise will purchase the vehicle on your behalf, so let's say police interceptor. We order that vehicle, spec it out to your need. We place it on a select term that we work with you on to find that optimal life. We upfit it for you. We deliver it turnkey ready as much as needed. If you want to logo it yourself, you can, or we can help you getting it upfitted as well to eliminate a lot of the hand touching and moving it around. You run that vehicle through that term. We actually have products to help you with the maintenance plan. Currently, you guys are outsourcing the maintenance as it sits today. But as we speak to, there's a lot of maybe lost paperwork or just a lot of hands that can be lost in the process of maintaining it. We have a network that allows you to use the same shops you're utilizing today to maintain those products. All the bills get sent directly through Enterprise, and it's actually completely covered into the agreement for the vehicle as well at a fixed cost, lower than actually what the school's paying today on its current fleet of
Okay,
vehicles.
those lists are daily or mileage?
There's no mileage, so since it's an equity lease, most people, as we hear lease, they think of dealer lease where you buy it, you run it for 3 years, 10,000 miles, and you turn it in. And usually a lot of people think of damages, wear and tear fees on the back end. This is different. An open-end equity lease is you own all value of the vehicle. So perfect example, driver of that police interceptor backs into a pole, small minor fender bender. You have the option of getting that vehicle fixed, or you can still run it through the life of the vehicle. When we go sell it, all that happens is you can fix it, or you just lose a little resale value out of that vehicle when we dispose of it at that time.
Okay.
There's no penalties for mileage or wear and tear fees on any of the assets you have to rust.
I'm a little detailed, by the way. If God forbid, if there's an accident and we refer it to you folks, how would you estimate how much would it cost us?
You're speaking in if a vehicle was damaged?
Correct.
Or totaled out, something like that? Yeah, so we actually help you through that claim process because at the end of the day, since we're the title holder, we want to make sure the insurance or whoever's at fault for that incident, we get that much recoup. Perfect example, the police interceptor, that vehicle's totaled out, you're investing additional $5,000 worth of equipment into that vehicle. We want to make sure that insurance adjuster is accounting for all of that to make sure whatever that payoff is, say at the time you owe $40,000 on it, we get $30,000. We're trying to make sure that delta for whatever the school owes left on it is completely abolished as much as possible. But if you think about it, it'll be no different if that police interceptor for you that you paid $60,000 cash for got totaled out. You'd have to then go fund that same, you would be out $60,000 plus having to refund another $60,000 at the same time.
Okay. This vehicle has a GPS on it as well?
We can add all the GPS products. I think that was something we talked through was the geotag tracking, which is very useful in today's day and age, whether you do just the tracking of the assets or you add the cameras in. Anything that's located as a moving target, no matter if it's commercial, government, or anything. So being able to have that kind of data feed and just capturing this, it's not Big Brother, a lot of drivers think. It's actually protecting them from many instances from what we've seen, especially in today's day and age.
Are they governed as far as the speed limit?
We can govern them if you want to, but we customize this as you need fit.
Okay. Normally, customary, how old those vehicles are when we decide to lease?
Typically, we put everything on what we call a 60-month term, so 5 years is usually where we find that sweet spot for government. How we land on that 5 years in the used car market, because how we sell vehicles, we hand sell and dealer to dealer to bid up and drive up that resale value. Since we've been working through tips and source, that ability to sell it versus you guys having to go to auction and hoping you get the dollar amount for it, that leaves us in control of what that kind of dollar amount is to resell it for. 5 to 7 years is the sweet spot for used cars though, because that's the easiest time for then a bank to refinance or finance that vehicle to said consumers like ourselves in this building. And you can imagine a 5-year-old vehicle with 50,000, 60,000 miles is worth a pretty penny on the open market. For that case, that funds are then recouped back to the school district, put down as a down payment on that new asset, lowering the actual funded cost for that next vehicle. And so you're almost building an internal vehicle fund through Enterprise because we're able to just move that money back over versus the way you sell today, you have to throw it back in a general fund and potentially get lost in there.
Okay. As far as tires and things of that nature, if there's needed, we all replace that?
Most of the time, just the way we see it, we don't. So on our full maintenance rate, we can add in brakes and tires to that. But most people, if you look just the life of a tire, it should last you about 50,000 miles, especially doing very highway mileage or movement. If, say, you need a tire or two, it can be billed directly through our enterprise portal, and it will just be added on that next month's invoice as a line item.
If there is a minor repair needed, can the district within their shops work it?
If you wish to do it internally, you're more than happy to. Keep the maintenance in-house. I know a lot of times you've been outsourcing a lot of it right now anyway. But if you wish to do it in-house, you can. You just, if they're not certified technicians, you run the risk of avoiding warranty work for the future.
And has it ever happened that the school who leased those vehicles decide to purchase those?
Yes, at the end, there's some schools look to purchase vehicles, but we work with Hallsville ISD, currently in Chapel ISD, and they've seen the fruits of replacing those vehicles over again. And there's never had that instance of they want to purchase them. Let's say that you run the vehicle for that 5-year mark and you wish to keep it a little bit longer, you have the ability just to extend it out, pay off that note, and still keep it in the enterprise system where we help manage that vehicle for a flat, I believe it's $25 through one of the co-operatives fee. And we still handle registrations, renewals, and the resale on the back end while the maintenance, and that's all on our portal for you to track.
Okay, that's all the question my small brain can create.
And beyond that, just to add to, y'all can lease, but some of our clients finance, some pay cash, so ultimately, that's a decision that you guys can make.
Yes.
I have a question. With your experience, well, it's gone now, but with your experience, what happens to insurance rates? Does this give us an improvement or less? Do we have to spend less money on insurance? Do we have to pay more for insurance, or it's going to be the same no matter?
You would see an improvement just because the vehicles are newer. You see a lot of since they all have the more standard safety equipment. I don't have the slide up there, but I think the average age of your vehicles right now is about 11 years old. And so a lot of the standard safety equipment that's on vehicles now is not on there, like backup cameras, the blind spot that all the semi-newer vehicles would be getting from us. That only not improves just your insurance rate, but also brand image around the city, as well as the safety of your drivers and avoiding any of those potentially insurance claims for the foreseeable future.
And then one more question. Those when we do this, it's delivered to us, or we have to go get the vehicle?
We'll deliver them to you. So we work with a number of network dealers around the country. I'll double check to see if any of the local ones are here, if we can drop ship them directly to the dealers here. If not, the vehicles will be delivered to the yard or wherever they need to go to.
Thank you.
Can you share with the board the cost benefit, purchasing flat out the vehicle, and then what it looks like going through a lease? Because that's one of the things we discussed at the purchase of the vehicle versus going through the lease. What does that number look like?
I don't have I didn't put the numbers in that exact. Do you have the
We
PDF?
have.
It's fine. Looking at a purchase, so if you're looking to replace vehicles in a 5-year manner, and just the total cash outlay the school would have to fork over for that, I think in our projected analysis, we looked at replacing about 23 vehicles this year. Looking at on a funded analysis of even just a cost of about $40,000 with, like we looked at, I think we're getting 3 police interceptors is what they're looking to try to do just alone. Those are about $55,000, $60,000. 20 vehicles at a $40,000 clip is a big chunk of change for the school to cough up and invest in vehicles. The equity lease allows you just to fund that small portion of the vehicles while taking that equity from the old vehicles that we'd be selling on your behalf to help lower that monthly expense or that annual expense. So you're funding a minimal amount for you as well. And most may think of, well, if we're funding or we're financing and the interest and all that. One thing on the back end when we sell vehicles, we're judged against Black Book CBI, so everyone knows usually Kelly Blue Book values for vehicles. Black Book's like the commercial index of that opposite. Enterprise has about 700 dedicated employees of selling vehicles, and that's where we thrive. If you ever rented a car, I'm sure everyone knows it's usually 1, 2, 3 years old and with low mileage. Enterprise makes a third of their profit off of selling vehicles more than actually operating the rental parts of the vehicles. And when we translate that dollars, we make about 10% higher above what the Black Book registration is. And we put that on a simple $100 is what we strive for to be above that. Over 1 million vehicles in sales, that's $10 million to Enterprise's bottom line in resale. When it comes to your fleet of about 57, that's an extra $57,000 to the school back in disposal for the vehicle. If we just hit that $100 mark, and like I said, you're in a government space where you're buying it at such a lower amount and reselling it at the right time with the low mileage, you see bigger resales on the back end as well.
I have one more question. I have Is there any length of leasing? In other words, it has to be yearly, or it could be 6 months, it could be 2 months?
Minimal is 6 months, but that's pure manufacturers, because they have term limits of how long a vehicle has to be in service for.
Right.
But they can go as short as 6 months all the way up to 60 months, 72 months, depending upon application. We can do anything as big as box trucks, things like that, even if you want to fund those through us on that, and then we know a 26-foot box truck for band, you're going to keep that for a long period of time. You can just run that and extend it longer while Enterprise still helps you manage it in the long run.
Okay, thank you.
However, Jordan, you did share that if we don't need a box truck for a full year,
Yeah.
and we know that there's 2 or 3 months in a year that we do use a box truck in an event, could you explain to the board that process?
Yeah, so everyone knows we have a rental car division too. That's usually what everyone sees. We'll pick you up. We actually have a commercial truck division as well, and they've been thriving in the school district space for renting box trucks for band in the football seasons and just band season when they're traveling around all the place. So the America's band we had here today. Yeah, you rent those for a short period of time. You pick them up. You can do whatever you want with them during that time period. You drop them off, and so you're not really keeping on that $100,000 asset, that bare minimum to the school district, and you use it as a need-based vehicle.
And I do have some directors that are in the room kind of wondering some questions, so I want to make sure, not that, they're not going to ask you the questions, I am going to ask you the question on their behalf. They have specific vehicles. The police department has specific vehicles and specs that they're looking for. Maintenance and operations has specific vehicles and specs they're looking for, whether it's Dodge, Ford. You work across the spectrum based on the specs that you're given by the school district to design or provide us with a vehicle that we're accustomed to getting. Is that how you work with that with our district?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not married to any manufacturer of any kind. We can get from Ford, Chevy, Ram, Nissan, Audi, whatever the school needs as a vehicle. But as us, as your consultant, our job is to find the lowest cost of ownership in a vehicle. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's Ford, Chevy, or Ram, they all drive, they all will break down at some point. As working in a rental car branch of 500 vehicles for 4 or 5 years, I can tell you any vehicle of any kind will break down at the mile 10 mark before you know it, just because they're engines that break down at some point. We're going to present all that to you, though, at the end of the day. We'll compare all makes and models of vehicles, SUVs, trucks, but at the end of the day, the school has the autonomy to make whatever decision they want. Our job is to present the facts to you. If it's the lowest cost vehicle you pick, great. If not, you will have the ability to do so. One thing I do want to point, and this is a pretty big ordeal, is the government incentives we were talking about. A half-ton truck, most people know it's a F-150 Silverado 1500. This year, looking at incentives, it's actually cheaper for you to go buy a Ram 2500, which is a 3/4 ton truck, which is bigger, and operate that for 5 years versus a half-ton truck because of the discount incentives that the truck is giving. And those are some of the things that even you would have to dedicate a whole staff member to go out and find all those things year-round to look up, and that's what we do on your behalf year over year to make sure is in the best place for you as a school district.
And those vehicles you normally use regular gas, correct?
Whatever you need, gas, diesel, we can upfit them as needed. Service bodies, idle racks.
No, nothing AV?
If you want EV, whatever you want.
Jordan, one other question. We have, Summer, do you mind stepping up to the microphone for just a second? We have a current white fleet. Does your department service those white fleets that we have right now? They just take them out to where we get them serviced?
Each department that has their own white fleet is responsible, but the white fleet that we have, we do the registrations and we do like inspections when they come back from trips.
Okay.
And then if we need to outsource it, the only type of outsource that we have is Will Cooks comes and brings our tires to us.
So we have to use our staff, transportation staff, to subsidize them to help us maintain our white fleet in that process.
Yes, sir.
Now, Jordan, this question goes to you. If we go with Enterprise, you have relationships across the board with a number of entities. We may have a relationship with Cooks, but Enterprise is accepted across the board, and we're able to receive services based on the relationship with Enterprise to receive the same maintenance plan that we have as a district, but we purchase the vehicles and we have some personnel that are taking care of that. We could do the same thing through Enterprise, but Enterprise has a wider net of places to get services.
Yes, so the vehicles, I believe Grease Monkey, Firestone, Pep Boys, Goodyear, a lot of mom and pop shops, I think that we saw there was 15, there was enough shops locally, and then there's plenty of shops around for school travel, whenever school district members travel to Austin, wherever they need to go, to get services done. Each vehicle is assigned a maintenance card that it can go in the glove box, it can be put into an Enterprise's mobile app and assigned pool vehicles. There's a lot of customization we can do to help facilitate that. But they go in, they get the services done. If it's on one of our vehicles, it's paid already anyway, so you're not having, the school will never see $1 in a maintenance bill. Speaking to that, it's actually fixed and budgetable, so the school district knows exactly what the operational expense will be on the white fleet for an entire 5-year period for the life of that vehicle. And you'll be able to judge that, so it won't see an increase, because it covers all preventative and non-preventative items, including engine and transmission issues. But when it comes for the existing fleet, while those phase out, yes, they follow the same process. All the billing would go directly to us. It gets logged in our portal, so the drivers don't even have to manually input numbers. We PO it out. It's all same tax-based, tax-free on all the services, and so it just makes it a smooth process for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more questions? Thank you. Go ahead, Mr.
Martin, safe travels home. And both of y'all, thank you for coming down to us.
They did a wonderful job. That's their third presentation they've done for me, and I still am just excited to hear them talk about it. One of the things I will say about this program that excites me, that may not excite other people, is that when we have those annual meetings or biannual meetings or twice a year, and we talk about what vehicles we need and what vehicles we need to replace, it makes it so much easier to budget every year. And then when I come to you all with the annual budget, we'll have those maintenance costs, we'll have those vehicles that we want to buy, all those payments, we'll have those in the budget and planned, rather than us having to come one board meeting and bring 5 vehicles at once and see those awful numbers of 5 vehicles bought outright. So that's one thing I just wanted to put out there, and again, thank y'all for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. We move into the consent agenda. Unless removed from consent agenda, all items listed will be acted on by one motion. If there's a board member who wishes to discuss item on consent agenda separately, please indicate the agenda letter, and it will be set aside for further discussion and a separate vote. Any questions, any comments? If not, I seek a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay. And second, who's second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Ms. Anderson is moved. Okay. At this time, I want to give myself 3 minutes, maybe less. On behalf of NISD Board of Trustees, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And wishing all NISD employees good health, much joy and happiness and peace in the year 2025 and well far behind. Thank you all. At this time, Ms. Mindy Winslow, you make your favorite motion.
Wait, I wanted to say something.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say something. I wanted to say something to teachers and everyone that serves or helps our students, our Dragon students. Unhitch your trailer for the holidays. What's here at school, leave it behind. Being a doctor, I know when I go 24/7 days in a row, you got to learn to unhitch. So unhitch your trailer, and if you just feel bad when you're driving your vehicle without a trailer, well, hook up your loved ones, your family, and all those people that you want to be around for Christmas, and have the merriest, most relaxed Christmas that you can have. And then when you come back, I think that's in the next year, you get a whole year off. No, you get part of a year. Anyway, when you come back, you can hook your your trailer back up, and you can have that blood and flesh that you care for and love and cherish and teach and serve. You can do that again, but unhook for the holidays.
Thank you.
I move that we adjourn. Second.
Okay, all in favor? We adjourn.